What's going on, people? So here we are, last video of the day. So that's cool. I don't know when these things will actually get out there into the free world or whatever, but that's a question for another day. So either way, right? So obviously there's two shoes here. The whole thing, as you probably saw from the thumbnail or from like the title, maybe both, I don't know. It's a pack sort of thing, right? So let's go ahead. I'll cover a little bit of both pairs or whatever, and then we'll do not really like a full-on normal review, more just like hitting you with some highlights or whatever. Because again, I just did a review of a pair of Gel-Lyte 3s like literally like 2 minutes ago, I think it was. So there's that. You can watch that and kind of get an idea of the overall. Well, not that one, the sunflower one. But this one, since it is like a slightly different construction as far as like the materials go, I'll cover a little bit of that stuff, right? Because that's important. But I'll at least try to get you enough pictures in there of each one so you can kind of get some idea for which one you might want if you don't want to buy both. Some people, like myself, indecisive, and we just buy both things and figure it out later. And I'll get back to that in a second, tell you how that worked out. So this one right here, right? This first one, this greenish sort of one. So there's the side of the box on it, right? And now we're gonna move on over here, and this one over here, this sort of pinkish sort of thing, there's that side of the box for you, so that way you can kind of see the whole thing that you might be wondering about. Now, one thing about this, I'm about to move these shoes like I didn't already take this picture. One thing that was weird to me about these is that I ordered these both straight from Asics, right? If you saw the Instagram live unboxing, you know that. But for whatever reason, they both arrived in like very different packaging as far as the boxes go. Because you saw like the difference in like the label styles, and that one is blue and one is white. This one is definitely like the better box, and this is the one I see most of the time. What sucks about this blue box, like remember when those, was it the Air Max 90s were coming out like every other day? And at first they had them in those like cool boxes because they were colored, you know, so you knew what pair was which. But they were narrow, so like your shoes were just kind of like squished in there. It's kind of weird to me. Again, it was cool. It was just like, you know, it was a cool idea. It's just the execution not so great. Same sort of thing here. This box is like narrow, so like these shoes are like just crammed in there. It's odd to me, right? Like, why do that? Either way. Okay, so I'll hit this one first, then I'll hit that second one or something, I guess. This right here is the Asics Gel-Lyte III from the Kodo Pack in the Eucalyptus colorway. So there's that for you. All right, and now give you a quick look at the bottom, right? So that's what's going on down there. Typical outsole sort of things, right? Nothing you haven't seen before. Let's jump up here, give you this shot of like the midsole and all that, give you like the side angle so you can kind of get an idea for what's going on there, right? Because again, I'm trying to get through both of these in the same one, so I'm gonna just breeze through it. And now the other shots in here real quick, just to kind of give you like the normal shots that I'll show you after that, but they're kind of like from an upper angle, right? So you can kind of see that this one, they're both going to be like sort of pastel sort of thing. This one here just has like more of the lighter side of the colors, I guess you could say, right? But again, that's what the pictures are there for. I don't have to tell you what you're seeing unless you're blind. I'm guessing you're not if you're watching a video. And so now, moving on to this other one over here, right? So this is the Asics Gel-Lyte III in the Hydrangea colorway. I don't know if I said that word properly. I'm gonna say that I didn't, because that's probably not how you say it, but it's how it looks. So across the bottom, looking at this thing right here, right? What you have down there, pretty much like, again, standard outsole, slightly different color, I think. Moving on up here, past all that good stuff, midsole side, give you this shot from the outside so you can see that. And obviously the picture will be the other way because usually I use the other shoe for the pictures. But there's that, seeing what you see, right? We'll switch on over to the other side of the angles and stuff, so that way you can kind of look at it from the top down. You can get a good picture of it. So like I was saying, the two shoes are both similarly colored in that they're both pastel sort of things. This just seems to be more like a sort of darker thing because of the whole violet, purplish, lavender, teal, whatever you call these colors, that, right? So you got that whole thing just kind of bringing it onto the darker side of this pack, right? And one thing past those two pictures and whatnot that I do want to say, and like that's why I didn't take these tags off. So if you look at the tags, they're both the same tags, right, on each shoe. So on the outside, you have like the picture of some Japanese festivities going on or whatever, a bunch of ladies sitting around doing Japanese things. And then when you look on the inside, that picture, well, I guess it is a picture that you'll be seeing, but the picture kind of shows you whatever it says on there, kind of gives you a little breakdown, because this particular shoe pack, the Kodo Pack, is built off of what, like aromatherapy in Japan or something like that. So that's where the color choices came from. But again, you can kind of read that thing, and maybe you've already read an article or two about these and you already know that, but some people might be curious. Now, past that, I think that's everything as far as like the upfront pieces go, as far as like each individual shoe. So now I guess I can get into like the breakdown, sort of, you know, give you the comparisons, right? That sounds fair. So right here, right, we'll start with like the toe box and stuff. So down here around the toe boxes and all that, right, you got the typical suede and stuff around there that you generally have. The difference being, compared to like a normal pair, on the top piece, instead of it being like this nice soft mesh thing, it's kind of like a leather sort of thing going on, right? So it feels nice. It kind of reminds me of those Doramu dolls. I bought those for my parents, right? I didn't get a pair for myself because sometimes I just live through other people on the purchases. So I bought those for them. I did a review of those basically twice, because I did it during a live and I did it at some other point. But either way, so it kind of reminds me of that, because it's got like that sort of leather thing. And even when you move on over to like the mid section here, right, you see a lot of the same thing, right? So you're gonna have like the suede in the middle and stuff, but around that, everything else is pretty much gonna be that same sort of leather feel, right? So you look at this one, same sort of thing, right? It's just giving you like a slightly closer picture so you can kind of see what I'm talking about, right? So yeah, very much what you might have expected. And then above that, you just have like suede and leather, right? And then moving on to the back end is very much kind of the same, right? You got the suede at the bottom, and then you have like the leather at the top. So past that, not a whole lot to say. And then looking again also at the front piece and all that, with like the lacing and the split tongue thing, that's how the Gel-Lyte 3s are, and that's just how these are going to be as well, right? So you got that leather piece, like I was saying, because you can see it's a 2-layer shoe, so it just kind of extends all the way throughout. It's kind of like a booty sort of thing, almost, but not quite, right? It's kind of like the Huaraches also, you know? I always make that comparison. I don't know if anybody out there doesn't have a pair of Huaraches, but if you don't, you're kind of missing out, because they're pretty all right. So overall though, that's kind of what these shoes are looking like, right? So now that you've seen that, I'll get you some personal thoughts on each one and we'll move on from there, right? So starting with the Sage pair, I think it said Sage on the box, but it's Eucalyptus by name. So this is the pair that I was thinking back and forth on for the most part, right? Because I was looking at it and I'm like, I should get both of these in a way, maybe, but if I only get one, I think I'll get the other one, the pinkish one, right? The only thing that held me back was that it just seemed very much like those Zygotics I just bought. But looking at these up close, now that I have them, I actually like this one more, I think, right? The one that I didn't expect to like. So it's same with that whole Misty Pine and the Wood Crepe pack, right? What was that? The Katamatsu pack, I think? Yeah, made the same mistake there. The one that I thought I would like the most was the one that I liked the least. They're still both fine, don't get me wrong. I like them both a lot. But the one I thought I would like the most is not the one I like the most. But looking at this, again, construction-wise, like I always say, you're getting a pretty good deal for your money when it comes to these Gel-Lyte 3s. So if you're thinking about it, and like the money is right on your end or whatever, don't go spending more than you need to on shoes. Because I mean, if you already have shoes, you don't really need more technically, especially not these. But you know, because they're not like a functional shoe. You know, it's not like it's a new rain shoe or weather shoe. But either way, don't spend money unless you need to spend it. You know, because again, you don't need everything. But these right here, if you're asking me, right, which pair to buy, I'm leaning towards this one. Now looking at the other one, you know, what is this pair called? The Hydrangea or something, whatever that word was that I tried to say and then did a worse job the second time. That. Looking at these, again, they look a lot color-wise like those Zygotics that I just bought. I think they're a lot of the same colors, right? Really, because those switch between like the left and the right. If you just combine both of these pairs, like you probably just have one of those. But either way, So looking at these, again, I don't have any problems with it at all, which is why I bought it and which is why I was looking at it as the one I would probably lean towards the most. But something about the more subtle colors of the other one is what makes me like that one more. I mean, this purple lavender sort of color combination, yeah, it's fine. I got no complaints with it, none at all. It's just that if I had to only buy one and I was able to see them up close in hand first, yeah, it wouldn't have been this one. But I have, again, to just make it known, no regrets on buying this particular pair, right? None whatsoever. So if this is the one that you're leaning towards more, I think you'll be happy with it. You know, do what you do. Just take my opinion for what it is. My opinion. Make your own, do your own things, live your own life. But looking at all that stuff, like I said, both shoes, you can't go wrong with either one. I mean, it's a Gel-Lyte 3. Like, they're usually fairly cheap. These are readily available. The last I checked, they were in stock. I didn't even buy these like right when they first came out. I waited a week or two or 3 or 4 or something before I pulled the trigger. Well, no, it was one trigger because it was both all in one shot, right? One shot, one kill, as they say. So either way, there's that piece of it, the personal thoughts and all that. So now, I guess it's the sizing. So I'm going to ramble on a little bit longer than I usually would because, again, I got to fit 2 pairs of on feet things into this video, right? The Gel-Lyte 3. I would say it's a true to size fit because for me, it is. That's why I would say that. Now, like I said in the previous video, right? Different shoes, they fit different ways and all that good stuff when it comes to materials and whatnot. And I didn't really try these on yet. I'll put some annotation on the screen if anything changes. But generally speaking, right, if you're just watching this to get your mind around Gel-Lyte 3s as a whole, again, I think this is a true to size fit. But here's the thing. Some people don't feel that way because they are a bit of a narrow build. It's understandable, right? It is a narrow build. It is what it is. And past that, the other thing about the whole sizing situation is you got the split tongue thing, right? So if you got kind of like a wider, fatter foot, however you want to call it or whatever, that thing might not close all the way, like clean, you know? And so then you have this like weird little gap in there where you can like see your sock and stuff. And to me, as a personal thing, I think that looks not okay. So I totally get why people do the whole size up thing, right? Because again, like the visual piece does matter to some of us, right? And hopefully, like once you find like whatever size you wear, you know, it's still in stock, which will likely be the case as long as you buy any standard Gel-Lyte 3 that's not a collaboration within like the first, usually like the first, 2 months or something. That's when they might start dwindling in sizes. And even then, if you just look past Asics, you'll probably still find the one you're looking for. The only exception I can think of in recent times was a Sunflower, which seemed to sell quickly. I don't know why. Well, it is pretty awesome, but I don't know why everybody flocked to that one. Because I've seen some other really good ones that just sat and got dust on them and then hit all of the clearance prices. Not those. Either way, moving along. So again, looking at the sizing and all that good stuff, once you get that worked out, you'll be fine, right? More than likely, because these don't sell super fast. And once you do get them in and you're wearing them around and all that good stuff, the one thing that I can say is that they will be super comfortable like all day, right? No question about that. Because the one thing that they have going for them is, you know, the whole Gel-Lyte 3 series. They got a really nice feeling midsole down there. So when you walk around in that, it's not gonna be like groundbreaking technology because it is still like 30 years old, right? But it's gonna be pretty nice. So I will give it that. If you want to like go out, do your errands, go to like a theme park all day, or if you're just walking through the mall, whatever the case is, this is definitely going to back you up on that. No problem, right? And then as far as the upper goes, right? The upper, in this particular pair, they are like kind of a leather sort of thing. So they still got some perforations in there, right? As far as like the holes and stuff to give you a little bit of breathability. But the material itself is still gonna kind of work against you in some ways, right? So it's not the ideal summer shoe. It looks nice though, maybe like spring, because it's still somewhat cool sometimes in the spring. But breathability wise, they'll leave a little bit to be desired. They will. And one thing I will say, I just slipped these on. These do feel a little slim, you know what I'm saying? Even more so than like a standard Gel-Lyte 3. So even more to say about the stuff that I've said in the beginning part of this. Definitely double check on what size you really want before you like make that commitment. But they have a generous return policy. But past that, I'm gonna say I've rambled on probably too long. So whatever, it doesn't much matter, you know. That should give you enough to see what these things look like and all that crap. So now we can move on, wrap up this video. From me to you, have a nice rest of your day or rest of your night, whatever it is, wherever you are. I am now done. Got to do a lot of editing and whatnot, you know, but that's part of this whole thing, you know. But I will be getting those wrestling things hopefully up today because I'm planning to do a live later tonight. Well, no, I'll get those up tomorrow, but I'll probably edit them tonight. That's what I meant to say. Whatever, I'll figure it out. Later, people.